streaming. And we are live. So let's get started. What do you guys think?
Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again to DevRel Office Hours. Today, we want to talk about how to build mini apps for Discord, especially the ones that are powered by AI. And this is something that we've been kind of like paying attention to with the whole movement in the general ecosystem about artificial intelligence and the direction that it's shaping for everyone. We are also doing our bit to make sure that we stay up to date with our offerings and with our services, and that we also take advantage of all of these new innovations coming out in the ecosystem to improve our own internal processes. So today we want to kind of like show you some of the things that we're doing, especially when it comes to enabling more communities take advantage of these AI tools to keep their communities more lively, more active, and basically help improve interactions. But before we dive into all of that, I want to just quickly do a bit of a reminder about the Collab.Land Marketplace, because that is where this conversation is centered around. So let me see if I can share my screen. Chibi, do I have permission to share screen?
Absolutely. Let's give that a try.
Okay. Let me know when you all can see it.
Right, I can see it. Please let us know, everyone in the audience, if the streaming is coming through for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, I'm showing the Collab.Land Marketplace. So also let me know if you're seeing a different screen, because I'm on one monitor now.
Yeah, that always happens. But yeah, we can see the Miniapp Marketplace screen right now. Only that one.
All right, that's it.
For now.
Yeah, that's the one. All right. So what just want to do a refresher in case this is your first DevRel Office Hours or you're not familiar with the marketplace environment. I want to quickly show what that looks like. And this is it, right? So these are the mini apps that we currently have in the marketplace that you can install into any existing Discord servers or communities where you want to take advantage of all the functionalities that they provide. We've got role composition, guest pass, credos, power apps, just a couple of them. But the one that I will probably talk about the most today is the, okay, I do have a slide deck here. Is the Spark AI mini app, right? It's a mini app that allows you to easily provide your community with instant answers to their questions simply by uploading your white paper or your FAQ document. It's kind of like a little way to train an AI agent with your own personal data or with your community's data, so that when people come onto your community and they want answers to some questions, or they need to learn how, what are your values, what are your goals, what is your mission, what's your vision, all of those informations that would ordinarily be in your white paper that informs the direction of your community, you can feed all of that information to Spark AI, and then Spark AI will then respond to your users with the appropriate answers based on the document that you've trained it with. So it's live. I think that's available on the Collab.Land Marketplace as of right now. Let me just scroll down a little bit, see if we can find it. So yeah, here it is. So at any time, even right now, I already have it installed in my own server, so that's why I did the uninstall button. But if you want to take advantage of this and just train this AI agent with your community's data, you can immediately do that just by going to cc.collab.land. If you manage any communities, you should be able to install that app. And there's also a little bit of a documentation on how it works and how to use it if you want to do that. So this is one way that we at Collab.Land are kind of like offering these AI powered mini apps to communities so that you can take advantage of it, and hopefully that it helps you improve engagement and communications in your community. So the other ones that we have that are still kind of like in development or not in production yet is we have the ChatGPT mini app, and this is something that our CTO Raymond built as a POC to see that that we can integrate a Collab.Land mini app with ChatGPT. And he got that working in a couple of days. So right now, locally, I can use that. Maybe we'll flesh it out a little bit more and then put it up on production. But we have a mini app that's ChatGPT based, which can basically communicate with ChatGPT. So you can, the same way you would go to, chat.openai.com and ask your questions and get responses, you could do that right inside of your Discord communities, right? So just by sending /commands, you can ask questions, get feedback, get responses, and you can, do whatever you want with that conversation. So that is something that we also already have as of right now, but just not in production, and we will get it there when the time is right. Then the last one, which is the one that we're going to be focusing on today, to kind of like show you some implementation details, how that works and how we're using it internally, is the DALL-E 2 OpenAI mini app that we have, also not in production yet, but this makes like a very good use case for the AI-powered mini apps on Discord that we're talking about today. So this is why we have Geeta on the call, because he has built out this amazing mini app that is /command based using Collab actions that he's going to talk about all of that today. And I think actually this is a good point to hand it over to you, Geeta, if you're ready, to talk about this, talk about AI, how we're using it internally at here at Collab.Land, and how you've been able to implement that using Collab actions to build this DALL-E 2 mini app. So let me know if you're ready and we can hand it off to you.
Yeah, Kenny, I'm ready. I'll just share
Amazing.
my screen.
All right. Okay. In the meantime, I will go ahead and stop sharing mine.
GM everyone, can you just confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so GM everyone, I'm Geeta Paul. I'm a software engineer here at Collab.Land. Today in the DevRel office hours, we'll be talking about how to build AI-powered mini apps on Discord. So the agenda of the presentation is as follows. First, we'll have a brief chat about Web3 and AI, the general landscape. Then we'll see how Collab.Land is working towards embracing AI. After that, I'll give a short introduction to what are Collab.Land actions. And then we'll answer the most important question, that is why should we use Collab.Land actions for AI projects? After that, we'll introduce the DALL-E 2 mini app, and after stating some prerequisites, we'll go into the code, and then I'll conclude the presentation. So Web3 and AI. I'm pretty sure in recent times, AI has been the talk of the town. Although, there is opinions that it might be a buzzword which is being thrown around, but it has more potential in changing the technology we know today, similar to how we used to view the ARPANET back in 1960s. So it's a novel technology, it's still under development. And although there might be speculation in the current times, we need to give a bit of time to this technology to develop in its full-fledged format. So when ARPANET was there in 1960s, people didn't expect it to evolve into the World Wide Web, which we technically cannot live without in the current age. So the Web3 landscape has been evolving around AI substantially. We are seeing DAOs, AMMs, blockchain security frameworks, decentralized identity providers, and many generative AI art projects. The list goes on. So we can see AI is helping enhance and secure the Web3 experience. So next is, how is Collab.Land working with AI? So one of the favorite quotes which I have from one of my favorite person, Albert Einstein, is the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. And at Collab.Land, we never shy from thinking out of the box and embracing change. We believe that in innovating for the future, and Collab.Land, in order to innovate for the future, Collab.Land is already focusing on multiple internal AI projects, and definitely some which is already public, like Spark AI. So we are focusing on using AI for automating workflows, researching new authentication methods, creating platforms which make AI apps distribution more accessible to developers, and so much more. Towards this initiative is Collab.Land Actions. So Collab.Land actually launched a marketplace for Web3 developers and communities. Collab.Land Actions is a tool for contributing apps to this marketplace, which developers need to develop to get listed, which the developers use to develop apps to get listed on the marketplace. And we call them Miniapps. So Collab.Land Actions can be developed without the need to access the Collab.Land code base or worrying about the security of the users or even provisioning expensive resources for development. The developers have full control over the development and the deployment flow. They can mostly worry about the logic and leave the entire scalability to us and the Collab.Land runtime. So why use Collab.Land for AI projects? So there are a lot of advantages for using Collab.Land actions for AI projects. Collab.Land actually serves a massive user base for developers to target and enlist their apps. Often when we develop some apps, we take a good amount of time and a good amount of effort to work on it. And then developers in generally do get demotivated if they do not get a good user base. So Collab.Land serves a lot of tokenized communities. So that is something Collab.Land marketplace can ensure a developer that they'll get a lot of reach on their mini apps as soon as it's listed on the marketplace. So the next thing is that developers can focus on logic instead of the DevOps infrastructure, uh, the scaling, the deployment, and the security of the users, because all of that is automatically handled by the Collab.Land runtime. Starting from the command registration to routing of the different interactions, all of that is done by the Collab.Land runtime. All you need to do is accept the interaction, process it, and then return a response. So the developers focus is mostly on logic, and it does not need to worry much about the UI and all that. So something which is not out in the logic. So AI developers often require a lot of effort to create UI for the users to interact with their applications using frameworks like Streamlit and all, which for complicated applications or in general takes a lot of time for an AI developer who needs to go back, learn some front end, and then learn some React or Next.js or use Streamlit like softwares to build their UI, which is like eating into the core logic development time. But in Collab.Land actions, all of that can be handled by creating the appropriate metadata and then initializing the handlers. So it's relatively very easy for a developer to get a UI ongoing. Although it's the Discord UI which they'll be using, but then they can easily provide an UI interface for their AI applications. So they don't need to focus on learning front end and all that. They can easily use the Collab.Land action metadata to generate the UI. So the mini app metadata is highly customizable, which helps in creating the Discord UI components. And it also allows you to set the type of commands like slash commands, pop-up modal commands, or message components. So in the DALI 2 action itself, we're using two type of interactions. One is the slash command interaction, which is the initial, when we enter the prompt to the DALI 2 mini app. And then after the images have been generated, we also use different message components or the button handlers to actually receive all these button interactions. And all of this is all of this routing information is passed to the Collab.Land runtime via the metadata. So the Collab.Land metadata or the app metadata, it's that highly customizable, that what interaction is passing through and how do you want to process it. All of that can be just initialized in the metadata. So the developers can finally focus on their AI innovation and leave the user interface, runtime deployment, mini app reachability, security, and scaling to us. So introduction to the DALI 2 mini app. The DALI 2 mini app is written using TypeScript and the OpenAI API and Collab.Land actions, obviously. So it can perform the following tasks. The first task is the users use the slash command slash DALI action and then enter their prompt to generate images, similar to how they would do in a website, in a form in a website. They would enter their prompts and then click generate. All that can be done within the Discord UI itself. So we just put the slash command and then there's a prompt which we have to put. The Discord prompts us, put a sentence or a prompt which you want to generate the image for, and then you can put that and then press enter, and it will start generating. So the mini app actually generates a set of 10 images, and that is all done by the OpenAI API. This is where the OpenAI API comes into place, and the user can actually cycle through those 10 images to actually see, what 10 variations of their prompt has been generated, and then they can choose any one of them. And once they've selected any one of them, they can send it in the channel, in order to share with their friends or the community they're using the AI mini app for. So there are some prerequisites before you start using this mini app, or you want to develop on this mini app. We do have a lot of boilerplates available in our GitHub organization. We have Python boilerplates. We have various type of Node.js boilerplates. The DALI 2 mini app is built on Express framework. We also have the loopback framework written by the loopback framework template written by Raymond, our CTO. So we have two versions of JavaScript implementations, and we have one version of a Python implementation of as well, written in Flask. So for installing this certain DALI 2 mini app, you need Node version 16, and we need to expose the API to the public. So an easier way to do that is using something called ngrok. So ngrok takes this internal port, the suppose localhost 3000, and then exposes it to the public via a link. And in order to test the Collab.Land action, we definitely require OpenAI API keys, because that is what is used to call the DALI 2 API. Next, you have to invite the QA bot into your development server. And as Kenny showed earlier, you go to the command center and then install the test flight mini app. The test flight mini app actually helps in installing Collab.Land actions to your server, and then after that, it's a simple slash command. So next, once you clone the project, you can set the environmental variables, which is the Collab.Land API key, and the OpenAI API key and the current environment. So the node environment. So it can be either set to production or it can be set to development. And last, you have to use the test flight command to install the action. You get the action URL from the ngrok, and then you can just put that in the Collab.Land test flight mini app to install that action. So I'll just show a brief video demo of the mini app. So you can see that it's a simple slash command, and then they take a prompt. In this video demo, you can see I've given the prompt as collab.land. And after a certain time, because the API takes a bit of time, it generates a set of 10 images for you. And you can see that there's the cycle button, which you can cycle through, click and cycle through the different variations. And once you like a variation which you prefer to send, you can also send that. And the cancel button is to cancel the entire process and basically cancel this entire request. So once you click the send button, the Collab.Land QA bot sends it to the channel tagging you. So this is how the entire process is. So moving on, we'll just go to the next slide. So let's see a bit of the code in order to explain how the entire flow works. So the current DALI 2 Collab.Land action was written on top of the Express template. So although I'll be focusing on how the code works, I'll also tell what files I've added for my own logic. So on top of the Express template, what you might need to add. So this is the DALI 2 code. So there are mainly two routes which have to be exposed. One is the metadata/metadata route, which is the application metadata, which I was telling earlier. And second is the interactions route. So the metadata route is a simple get route, and it should return an entire mini app metadata. The mini app metadata should also contain the manifest. So this manifest actually tells what should be the action name and what platforms is it for. And you can also add your own website and all that. In the metadata, there's something called a support interactions object. So this is definitely, in JavaScript or TypeScript, we do it as an object. In the Python template, I've also mentioned in the documentation, in the Python documentation, how you have to create those Miniapp metadatas and manifests. So you can see there. So in JavaScript, we create the supported interactions array, and this should have all the types of interactions. So as I said that, this metadata is so versatile that you can create multiple type of interaction handlers just by mentioning what type of interactions you expect. So you can see the first is the application command. So that slash command which we actually entered on Discord, this is where in the metadata we mentioned that, hey, if there's a slash command with slash DALI action, you need to forward it to my API because I'm handling that. Other than that, we also allow message components. We actually allow message components pop-ups. So you can see this is how a message component is actually initialized. So you mention the type of the interaction is a message component, and then you give the IDs of the buttons which you are supposed to receive. Like if a button is clicked which has a certain ID, that interaction is supposed to be sent to your API. This is what this entire metadata section tells, that if there is a button which has DALI action :send button, and that is clicked by any user, this API should receive that interaction. Then moving on to application commands. So for each application command, you also have to expand on what a slash command is supposed to have, and then what options it's supposed to have. So that prompt window which you saw earlier in the video demo, that prompt window is actually an option of an application command. So that prompt window is a string input, and you can see that this is where it's mentioned. So we name the input as prompt, and then we also tell what type of an input it should expect. So you can see this is a string. So if it would have been a number, they wouldn't have accepted a string. So this is Discord side validation, which can be done via the Miniapp metadata. So this is all about the metadata. In our developer documentation, there is a detailed explanation of how to write the metadata, what to write, and how you can customize. But I just wanted to go over through it once. Second is the interactions route, which is a post route. And this is where you can do the signature verification, because the Collab.Land Actions API does support signature verification. So you can do the signature verification via either ED. One second. You can do the signature verification via two algorithms we support: ED2519 and ECDSA. So after that, you can also put handlers. So this is the function which actually handles the entire interaction. And before that, what we do is we verify the signature. The signature verification algorithm is also given in the developer documentation. So you can see, if I open the logs here, you can actually see that there's this website from where the public keys of the Collab.Land API is being fetched. So it's the /config route, and using the public keys, we verify the signatures along with the timestamps. So this is like an added security measure which the Collab.Land Actions API has. So it prevents your API from attacks from random people attacking your API. So a good way to secure your API is to first check the signature. If the signature matches with the Collab.Land API's public keys, only then process the request. Else you throw an error. So that is how you can secure your own API from external attacks. So moving on, now going to the handle function. So the handle function actually then checks what type of interaction we are receiving. So is it like a response from that slash command, which has the prompt, the generative AI prompt, or is it like the buttons which you are clicking, like the cancel, send, or the cycle button? So if it's a application command interaction, what we do is we send a deferred message. So this is the follow-up messages which we can send through Collab.Land actions. So what you did see in the video demo that there was this brief moment where the Collab.Land QA bot was telling that it's thinking, it's taking some time to process. So this is where you send a deferred response. This response ensures that you can just send like a preliminary temporary response that, hey, the Collab.Land API is thinking, just wait some time, and once it's processed, then you can send the final response, which is that entire embed with the 3 buttons. And if it's not an application command, then it means that it's a button interaction in my case. So the button interaction is a message component interaction, and you can see that I've added that in a message component case. And the button interaction then takes all the 3 buttons. So you can see these are the button IDs, which I had mentioned in the metadata, right? So your first work, whenever you're like, this is how I would suggest coding a Collab.Land action, is to first decide the metadata, and then from the metadata you can decide what type of message IDs button IDs you require to process and all that. So the metadata is like this JSON form of UI, if I can say that. So you declare a JSON, and that JSON magically transforms into a Discord UI. So this is where the buttons are handled. So you can see the send button actually sends the image response, the final image response. The shuffle button actually shuffles. I'll actually go into how we store the image data and all briefly. And the cancel button actually cancels the operation. Okay, so coming back to DALI action again. So this is how the core logic of Collab.Land action works. And this is how Collab.Land actions work on a very higher level, if I would say. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty details. So how does this DALI to Miniapp work? And how does before that, so there's one more thing which I wanted to mention. So there's this file called www.ts, and it's mostly like a initialization file, or a the first file which is executed when you run the npm run start command. And in the templates, in the basic templates, you might or might not see a lot of services being initialized. So when you're writing an API, right, you require a lot of services like caching services, database services, and all that. So there's this section in the www.ts which is this promise.all, and this is where you can actually initialize multiple services, and when those are initialized, you can start the server. So you can actually plug your services once here if you want in this template, or you can also plug it in later here. So you can initialize different services here. So I use this very typical type of services structure. I'll just show. So each service, as you can see, I have 2 services. One is I'm using Node Cache to actually cache the images, because technically I do not need to store all those 10 images in a database because they aren't permanent. It's just like a temporary storage. So I'm using Node Cache. You can also use Redis. So for each of the services which I've written, there's this function called init service. And what this init service does is, creates a node cache object. And I use a singleton architecture here so that, I can have a single instance of the cache, and then I can, continuously call that. And I don't need to create multiple connections to the node cache or Redis. So this init service actually initializes the services. And this is that init service function which I was actually injecting, or I would say lining up here. So this is where you can line up your all of your services, so that you can ensure that the service has been connected and everything before the API even starts. So coming back to the I'd go with the DALI service first. So the DALI service is a very simple service. What it does is it takes the OpenAI API key, and then it initializes an OpenAI API instance. Once that is initialized, there's also one more function called get images. So get images is actually executed when you give your prompt. It takes the prompt, it tells the OpenAI API that it requires 10 images of size 512 by 512, and the response format should be like URLs. So OpenAI API actually also supports base64 encoding, so you can tell the OpenAI API to get base64 versions of those images. So what is returned is 10 image URLs. And after that, what I do is I store it in the cache service. And what the cache images does is stores two things. One is an array of these URLs, which is there, and second is a counter. So a counter variable is a very simple, I would say, like a page number thing. So every time, initially, it's initialized to 0 when the initial model, initial embed is rendered on your Discord interface, and as and when you're clicking the cycle button, uh, the counter is changed, and every time the counter is changed, what I do is I re-render that embed with the index of in the URLs array with that index. So if it starts with the URLs 0, every time suppose you click the button 2 times, so it's URLs 2. So then I render that image. So that is how I can cycle through all the 10 images. So this is, I think, a brief walkthrough through the code, and I'll just see if I'm missing something. So yeah, as I said, this is using Express. We do have loopback examples as well, and we have fast API examples. I think I mentioned Flask. It's not Flask, it's fast API in Python. So we have a Python example as well, which is using fast API. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the code, code walkthrough. So concluding, the DALI 2 mini app serves as a proof of concept how Collab.Land actions can be used to create AI applications which utilize the Discord UI and can be developed in a very short period of time, as Kenny also said. The actions workflow actually allows developers to focus more on the logic, innovation, and creativity, while leaving the heavy load for our runtime to manage. It gives them an increased reach amongst their user base and ensures that they can be appreciated for their hard work. Collab.Land Actions actually opens new doors to innovations in AI and Web3. So that's all from my side. Handing over the mic to Kenny. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Gita. That is a fantastic walkthrough of Collab actions. I think you actually touched just about everything. Collab.Land, our AI inspirations. You talked about Collab actions. You talked about the DALI action. That's amazing. Thank you very much, Gita. Let me just quickly. Can you stop sharing your screen? Let me stream and maybe conclude. If anyone in the audience has any questions about any of these things, please feel free to ask us and we will answer you. But to round up from what Gita has said, we have the Getting Started guide on the Collab.Land documentation that would shed some more light on all of these things. Technical walkthroughs and code walkthroughs can be challenging. It can be difficult to track everything. But if you look at the documentation, then you can make your own assumptions and you can draw your own conclusions based off of the documentation and how it works. And we have all of that written down for you. Something that I also want to call out is the templates that Gita mentioned as he was giving the presentation. Is we have an express action template, one for loopback and one for Python as well. So if you're feeling like doing any of these, or you want to build your own collab action, maybe with some of your own AI juice on top of it, we have you covered with these action templates. And what that gives you out of the box is you don't have to worry about setting up the infrastructure or running the Collab.Land code base or worrying with DevOps and all of that. You just need to focus on your logic, on your own business use case, and that's all you have to care about. And like Gita mentioned, you just have to specify the metadata and the interactions. Now, this is the, maybe someone can share this link because I can't do it while I'm sharing screen. But this is the URL of the action template that Gita talked about. And this is the DALI action, the one that's doing all the image generation and sending and canceling and all of that. So if you're interested in that code base, or if you want to see what that looks like on your own, you can also come to this repository. We have instructions here on how you can run it locally. So even if your intention is not to deploy these projects to a different server and just want to run it locally and see how it works in your own community, we have instructions that allows you to do that on this documentation. So that's that about those two actions, and I'm going to come back to the documentation. We have documentations that allow you to build your own Collab action. And we've had a DevRel office hour where we went through all of this documentation, end to end, and tried to show you where you get started, where you how to test it with a test flight mini app, how to run it locally, and how to submit the mini app for us to list it on the marketplace when you're done. So I think we have about 10 minutes left. I would like to give the opportunity back for anyone to ask questions if anyone has any questions that they want to ask. Otherwise, I'm just going to ask Gita, maybe not share your screen again, but give some kind of insight on what would be the ideal way for someone that wants to build like an AI-powered mini app. What would be like the steps you would recommend for them to take? Like, what's the first thing to do? Would they need to read the documentation? Would they need to talk to Collab.Land? Would they need to, I'm an engineer. I've been in this office hours, and I want to go ahead and build one of these AI-powered mini apps. What would be your recommendation on the next steps for me?
So I think something which I'm pretty sure most of the AI developers do is code in Python. So I would really suggest to go look at the Python template once, and because the Python template itself is written in Fast API, which is really easy to understand. And once you go to the Python template, you can actually see how we've defined each actions in different Python modules, and how we've also implemented the signature verification. So there's a lot of boilerplate code which is written for you, which you do not need to edit. So technically, all you can do is create your own action and then go to that action folder and then create a main.py. So Kenny, could you give me the screen share once? I'll just walk through that.
Oh yes, yeah, of course. Yeah, go ahead. In the meantime, I will share some of the links that I was talking about now that I'm no longer sharing screen. Oh, I see. You've been doing that. Thank you, Chibi. Thank you for sharing all of that.
So you can see, yeah. So you can see how each action, each different type of action is written in this folder, which is like a Python module. And then you can go to the main.py and you can see how all of the interactions are being handled. So as I said before, even when I was coding in JavaScript, all you need to do is define two routes. One is a get route, which will return the metadata. And as for my suggestion, it's good to first decide what type of an app you want to build, and then build the metadata first. And once you have done that, all you can do is then write the interactions, which is like a post route handler, and then it can process the entire flow you want. So if you're using Python, you have OpenAI SDK and everything, which is like easily available. So even like if you want to write your own machine learning algorithms, you can use Python, and you can just create this. You can use this Flask container to call your functions and return the output and all that. The Fast API. So it's really easy. Just go through this code base once, the Python one. If you do not understand some part of it, we are here in the Discord. Do ask us if you have any doubts regarding the Python template or even the JavaScript template. So go through this, see once. If you have a AI project waiting, you have written the entire code and logic, and you just want to implement a UI, give Collab Actions a try, I guess, and I'm pretty sure you'll be happy, implementing it in a very short time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gita. And let me just mention, I know this office hours is like very AI based, but we do have other types of mini apps, right? I want to call that out just in case you're here and you're wondering if, what if I'm not building an AI powered mini app? Does that mean I don't get anything listed on Marketplace? The answer is no. We have about a dozen mini apps in the Marketplace, and so far we've got only the Spark AI, one being the AI-based, like fully AI-based mini app there. So want to call that out. If you're thinking of building anything that could potentially be helpful to Discord communities, regardless of what it is, know that you can build that using Collab Actions. We have templates for JavaScript. We've got one for TypeScript. We've got one for Python, and we've got one for Loopback. And if you need, you're not limited by that 4 choices, by the way. Like if you do want to build a mini app and you would like us to like shoot out a starter template to help you bootstrap that, you just let us know what that language is, and if we get enough requests for it, we can go ahead and build that out for you. So that's one thing that I'd like to call out. I know we are talking all about AI today, but yeah, you're not limited to building AI mini apps. You can build anything, pretty much anything. And you can always go to cc.collab.land to see the existing mini apps that we've got there. Maybe that could help you draw some inspiration. This is something that I always like to talk about whenever we are having these office hours, is that the value you get out of building the mini app, because engineering hours can be it can be a hard negotiation with your team or with your company if you want to invest in it. But the value you get is that Collab.Land already has about 48,000 communities that would immediately get access to this mini app if you should build that. So basically, we're giving you a lot of distribution to existing communities with verified users that you can count on to know that this is like a massive audience who are going to potentially get access to whatever mini app you build and put on the Marketplace. We have, I think, Chibi, we do have the previous DevRel office hours somewhere online, maybe on YouTube, because I want to make reference to it. If anyone's kind of like curious about how that works, what's the process for building that out, how do you submit a mini app for listing on the Marketplace, how do you get it through the DAO proposal flow, all of those conversations we've had in the past, and I don't want to start repeating all of them again. But yeah, we do have all of those information. You can look through our YouTube channel, look at the previous DevRel office hours, go through whichever ones that interest you, some of the topics that interest you, and know that this is whichever app you build is just going to get distributed to all those communities. We're going to do marketing within Collab.Land to make sure that we get the right mini apps to the right audience, and let all our admins know that there's a new mini app and these are what it does and X, Y, Z thing. So to me, as a developer, that offers a lot of value. Because otherwise, if you build that app and you put it on the App Store, you just rely on SEO and organic search for people to be able to see that. But if you put it on the Collab.Land Marketplace, automatically you put it somewhere where like 48,000 admins can see it immediately, and that could lead to installations, that could lead to actively using it. So I think that's all that we have prepared for everyone today. We have all the templates shared. We have the link to the GitHub URL of the DAL-E action shared. Maybe I can also share the one with the ChatGPT that we also have that's also open source. So we're building all of this in public. We're hoping that you can give us feedback or ask us any questions. In terms of questions as well, we have the Dev General channel here on Discord, where we converse with developers. We have the mini app ideas thread here also on Discord, where you can shoot your ideas to us, let us know what you're trying to build. We can give you ideas, talk about it back and forth, try to validate those ideas for you, let you know if that's good, if that's not good, or if it requires more research. So all of those conversations happen all within our Discord. So you can reach us, you can stay in touch with us, you can talk to us, you can ask questions at any time, and we will be available to help you. So I think in closing, I would just want to say thank you everyone for coming to today's office hours. we have POAPs, I think that Chibi is going to kindly share with everyone, and I'm looking forward to claiming that. So over to you, Chibi.
Thank you so much. Just to quickly mention that we posted some links in the state chat leading to the previous recordings for DevRel office hours, as well as how to grab your builder role in the Get Roles channel. And you will get access to the Dev General chat when you grab your builder role. So just to quickly mention that. And it's time for the POHub. I actually really like this one, so I hope that you like it too. And let's get started. I'm excited. Okay. So for everyone in the audience, in order to claim today's POAP, you will have to use the POAP mini app. It's very easy. In any of the chats of the server, you will have to write down /POAP claim. It's a slash command called POAP claim. And the claim phrase is collab AI, all lowercase and with no spaces in between. Again, slash command POAP claim, and the claim phrase is collab, just as in Collab.Land, all lowercase, collab AI, all lowercase. Once that you write that down, you can hit enter and you will receive a code to claim your POAP. Please let us know if it worked, and I hope that you like it. I am just claiming mine. It seems to be working,
I
but
love
please
it.
let us know. Do you get
I
it?
love it. I'm claiming mine. Yeah,
Oh,
it's minting now.
yay!
It looks great.
Awesome. Thank you. I was assisted by AirTune this time. So shout out to AirTune. It
Yeah, I
was a
love
fun
it. This is
process.
amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. I always love claiming POAPs. It's
Oh,
kind of very rewarding, and I love the design. Like you do it very well.
oh, thank you. I think it's cute too. I'm happy to know that you liked it. And I just claimed mine too, which is always exciting. Just in case, let's repeat the secret word one more time. And I'm sending. Oh, that didn't work. I think it's because of the space. There we go. If you click the command that's in the state chat, it will automatically let you use it. So again, /POAP claim, and the claim phrase is collab AI. Yay, I see that everyone's successfully claiming. Thank you guys for letting us know and for joining today's session. Oh, and thank you for your comments. Really, really, really appreciate them, as always.
I love it. I love it. This looks great.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you, Chibi.
this makes my heart so happy. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and thank you,
Oh, and
Geeta,
also,
for today's presentation.
Thank you
yes, it was
everyone for listening.
fantastic. Thank you, Gita. Hope to have you here more often. Also, for everyone in the audience, if you happen to watch any of the recordings for previous DevRel office hours and have any questions that you would like to ask, even if it's not during these live presentations, but if you have them later, feel free to bring them up as well. You can do that in the Dev General. We linked it in the state chat a little bit ago. But yeah, please feel free to bring your questions or feedback or any comments because we are really really interested in reading those and we'll get back to you. So just to mention that, please feel free to do that and you can tag us so that we can read your questions and get back to you.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I see joy to the world, said he's going to review at his own pace. All right, I like that. Please do review at your own pace. We shared all the links to the repositories in the chat. And if at any point you feel confused or you need like just to answer questions, and if you have questions you'd like answers to, just reach out to us, and we will clarify for you.
Absolutely. All right,
Amazing,
and I
amazing.
think
Thank you, Chibi. Thank you, Chibi. I think that's it.
yeah, I think that we're good to wrap things up. I wanted to give a quick reminder too that we have Twitter Spaces tomorrow, spotlight on security. So maybe let's share that in the stage. If you guys are interested in attending, you can hit the interested button. There is also the Twitter Spaces link that you can set a reminder for. And you are all welcome to join DevRel office hours and CTO office hours on Wednesdays every week. Really hope to see you guys in the next sessions.
Thank you
Thank
everyone
you
for
again.
coming. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Chibi, for hosting us. You're amazing. I love the Pro app. And thank you everyone in the audience.
Thank you, Kenny and Gita. We will see you guys next time.
Bye everyone.